The Great Gatsby Summary. Chapter 1. Yale graduate Nick Caraway returns from World War I and becomes a bond salesman, moving to a Long Island suburb called West Egg and renting a small house beside a mansion owned by a man named Jay Gatsby. West Egg is full of newly rich people, but East Egg across the bay is where the old rich live. After dinner with his cousin Daisy in East Egg one evening, Nick sees Gatsby staring across the bay at a green light. Chapter 2. Nick goes with Daisy's husband, Tom, to the city. On the way, they stop in a rundown area called the Valley of Ashes, where Tom visits his mistress Myrtle, and tells her to meet them later. They all get drunk in the city that night, and Tom ends up striking Myrtle in the face because she won't stop talking about Daisy. Chapter 3. Nick attends a huge party at Gatsby's mansion, where he hears scandalous rumors about his neighbor. He spends most of the night with Daisy's friend Jordan Baker, wandering through Gatsby's house until they finally fall into conversation with Gatsby himself, who's charming and personable. At one point, Gatsby goes off alone with Jordan and tells her something, but she doesn't tell Nick what he said. Chapter 4. Nick goes into the city with Gatsby and meets one of his business partners, Meyer Wolfsheim, whose suspicious demeanor makes Nick wonder if Gatsby is involved in organized crime. Later, Jordan reveals that Gatsby told her he has a romantic history with Daisy, whom he wants to see, though it seems Daisy may not want to see him. Gatsby wants Nick to arrange a meeting without telling Daisy he'll be there. Chapter 5. Nick agrees to invite Daisy over for tea so Gatsby can see her. At first, Gatsby is debilitatingly nervous when he sees Daisy, but things improve when Nick leaves them alone. Upon returning, Nick sees they've rekindled their bond. Gatsby invites Daisy and Nick to his mansion, where he ends up dancing intimately with Daisy, and Nick realizes they're enraptured with each other. Chapter 6. Nick learns about his neighbor's past. Gatsby's real name used to be James Gotts, and he grew up poor. However, he found a mentor in a wealthy man named Dan Cody, who upon his death left him $25,000, though Gatsby was unable to collect it for petty legal reasons. Nick attends another one of Gatsby's parties with Daisy and Tom, but nobody enjoys themselves. Chapter 7. Nick and Gatsby have lunch at Tom and Daisy's. It's tense, as Tom suspects something between Gatsby and Daisy. The group drives in separate cars to the city, where Tom confronts Gatsby. Daisy admits she loves Gatsby, but Tom reveals that Gatsby is involved in illegal businesses. Gatsby and Daisy drive home together, striking and killing Myrtle Wilson on the way. Gatsby tells Nick that Daisy was driving, but that he's going to take the blame. Chapter 8. Gatsby tells Nick that he posed as an affluent man when he first met Daisy because he wanted to be with her. By the time he returned from World War I, she'd married Tom. The day after Myrtle's death, George Wilson hints that he knows how to find the person who killed his wife. Later, Gatsby is found dead in his pool, and Wilson's lifeless body is lying in the grass nearby. Chapter 9. Nick meets Gatsby's father, Henry Gotts, and has an emotional conversation with him about Gatsby's potential for greatness. Later, Nick is appalled when hardly anybody shows up to Gatsby's funeral. He's even more appalled when he runs into Tom on Fifth Avenue one day and realizes that Tom told George Wilson that Gatsby was responsible for Myrtle's death.